Okay, so why and how does WordPress use PHP? I showed you some of these quick files here, but why and how? All right. You're going to hear me, if you work with me long enough, you're always going to hear me start with the why. Okay. I do that because once you understand the why of something, it sticks in your noodle. You get it, right? It's like, oh, okay. That's where the light bulbs come on. Then we can talk about, well, what is it? The when do you use it? And then how. How's always last. Okay. So just get used to that with me. So why? Why does WordPress use it? Well, I already explained to you in the last video, didn't I? That everything in WordPress is built on PHP because that's the chosen language that runs on the server. PHP is very prevalent in the world. It's powering most of the websites in the world, actually. Okay. So how does WordPress use it? Well, all right, you probably are most familiar with the functions.php, right? When you open this up, so we've got the 2017 theme here. How does it use it? It's used, as I said, for processing, building, and sending it out to the browser. Right here, we say, is this if the version compare? Okay, WP version. That's the version of WordPress that you have loaded up. If it's less than 4.7-alpha, which means the version that's running is less than that version, then they're saying, would you please go and run this back compatible? And then return says what? It says to right now exit. And because this is at the root of the file, the rest of this file will not run. If, yes, this is like a 3.7, a 4.2 version of WordPress. Okay. That's what this is happening here. Because you notice 2017 says it only works in WordPress 4.7 and later. That's it. Then the rest of this code runs. So what happens is WordPress goes and it says with this particular theme, this is like a check. Are you running the right version? So there you go. It ran a decision and decided what to do. And based upon that decision, it said, if that decision is true, then go do this. Okay. We then segment and break up content like this by having functions, and we'll talk more about that. We do stuff like running functions. This is just a function. That's just a function. Add theme support's just a function. But there are ways of being able to configure what we want. Configure what we want. I want to configure up and register these menus. I want to add a new image size. That's configuring what we want for our theme. I want that option, that option. I want this image size and that image size. That's what it's doing here. So that's one way that WordPress uses PHP. Other ways are in the backend. So this is all the admin stuff. Okay, so when you go and you look at, well, here, let's go in the backend. Here in the widgets, this starts with the PHP. PHP goes and it says, okay, I want to pull this out of the database. How do you have this configured? You have the search here. You have recent posts. You have recent comments. And then if I go and delete some of these, okay, now I'm customizing, right? Okay, I just got rid of that one. If I move this one to the secondary sidebar, notice that I just changed things around. Well, that's now stored in the database to let us know how we've changed our widgets. And then PHP goes and talks to the database, which then builds this up for us, renders it out to the screen in this visual representation. Okay, if I were to open up Pages, all of this is built first with PHP. Then it goes and it starts to render out the HTML, but it's got to go get that dynamic data because this sample page, I could add another one. Maybe this is my about page, right? Okay, so then if I come back to here, notice that I just changed this display. It's not static anymore. I added new information in. PHP is managing all that for us. It's going and building this up to say, Mr. Database, would you please give me all of the pages? And then I'll go and put the right information in the right spot when I build this. Okay, that's how WordPress uses PHP in the backend. You can do things like the settings and the tools, what theme you want to use, what customization you want to use. All of this All right, let me teach you one thing here right now. This is what we call an interface. It's a visual representation of the data in the database and the tools that have been established to be able to work with that information so that you can edit, you can delete, you can add, okay? Or you can go in view. So we have set tools, we have set data. This is not hard and fast. This is the out-of-the-box interface, and you can customize all of this. But it's just an interface. Visual representation. That's it, okay? So I just had to make that note in your mind. I like to plant little seeds for you here. Okay. So WordPress does other things with PHP. For example, the permalinks. When you make a web request, like this one right here, so that's just the root. WordPress knows from the permalinks and the rewrite rules, that's just a bunch of rules that it stores in the database. It knows how to go and load that. If I click here on this Hello World post, it knows that's a post and it knows how to go and grab it because of the rules by a certain pattern that gets established from the code itself. Okay, that might be a little deep for you, but you can see that WordPress is handling this request right here, and it knows how to go and build this page. That's how WordPress uses PHP. It talks with the database to go get information. Okay, those rules, how do I go and figure out what to go pull? Then it goes and it grabs that information out of the database like this. What are the recent posts? Well, that comes out of the database. What is the post you want to view? Well, right here. What's it filed under? What's its category out of the category taxonomy? Right? So what term has been established here? And if I went and changed that, so if I went and said, I want to edit that, and I don't want that one. Maybe I want to put one in that's PHP basics, like this. Okay, so I just add a new one in there. Great. I just stored this information in the database, and when I come back over here and I refresh, it went and grabbed that information out of the database. So that's what PHP is doing for you, okay? So you can see then how WordPress, PHP is absolutely critical to being able to customize and develop for WordPress.